Hey, so I want to thank you guys for being on, Miss Melissa and Lauren, and just want to ask you a few questions about your experience here in the top 10 ACT Academy. You guys know me. I'm Miss Trish. I'm Miss Tori, actually. Miss Tori. Miss Trish is here. She's our ACT certified English and reading specialist. I do math and science. And to get started, Lauren and Melissa, can you guys kind of share with me what was going on before you guys decided to enroll in an ACT prep program?
Well, I wasn't originally going to take the ACT, but then after thinking more about it, and especially how college admissions were getting more competitive, I decided it would be best to take the ACT to help me get into schools even more.
Right.
Okay.
And I think that she had been exposed to some new opportunities that talked a lot more about if, a strong college application and the different factors that were being reviewed, and that if you did have a strong ACT score, even for test optional schools, that it was good to share those strong scores. And also you could be more competitive for scholarships.
Wonderful. So you decided that it was going to be in your best interest to take the ACT. What then made you seek out some support in prepping for it?
Well, I started looking for prep, and then someone that we know recommended top 10 to do it. So it just seemed like the perfect timing because we started looking, and then someone recommended y'all. So it just seemed right to do.
And also, she had her school administered ACT test last spring. Um, we didn't do any prep for it, nor did she really plan to take the school administered test. However, she received a 24-hour notice to take the test, and she took it. And when we looked at her score, we also thought, well, maybe there's some opportunity if you had prepared to have a higher score. So it was worth trying to invest and try and find a prep course. And of course, by referral is probably the most effective way for me, a trusted source, because there's so many sources out there. But having a referral of someone that I personally trust made a difference for us prior to talking with you.
Wow, I can't believe she had to take an exam, an ACT, without any notice, just 24 hours. That's incredible. So do you mind like sharing where she was scoring at that time when she took that first test?
She scored a 20 at that time when she took the test. The school had a school-wide administered ACT test. Um,
Hmm.
because we were thinking we were not going to supply ACT scores, she did not take that test. But then the school circled back 3 or 4 weeks later and said, you must take the test and you'll be taking it tomorrow.
Wow. So it was actually a requirement for school that she had to have it at her
It
school.
it seems that way. We were not
Okay.
aware of that requirement prior to that.
Yeah,
Wow.
actually, I talked to, well, my friend, she actually called like the principal and some administrators because she didn't want to take the test either because she had taken it so much already. And she was like, I don't need to take this again because I've already taken it. And they said it's that they're trying to require us to do it because not enough people at our school actually take the test. And so they made everyone take it because they wanted to prove that people in our school actually take the test, which is
Wow.
not really the best idea, in my opinion.
Yeah. Wow. That's new.
Okay.
Yeah.
We thought it
Well,
was
you
new.
get
Okay. Yeah, we thought it was new.
you have to do what you have to do sometimes, I guess. But she made the score that she made, and then you sought out some support. So tell us what it's been like, now that you've enrolled in top 10 ACT Academy. What has been your experience working with Miss Trisha and I?
My experience has been that I've grown a lot. I remember the first couple of lessons, I feel like I definitely did better with like the material than I did the first time I took it. But even though I did better, it wasn't really like my ideal scores. And now my scores have just gone up every single week and I've gotten better, especially at sections I never thought I could be good at, like science. But now I realize it's really just about reading. And I love reading, like comprehension stuff. So it's just like the reading section. So it's easier to understand now. And also English, I've never really been that good at grammar, but now that I really looked at it and understood the rules of grammar more, it's gotten so much better for the English section. And then in math, I've never really liked math, but I have to say one thing that really changed is that calculator because I can do things so quickly and I don't have to remember steps and I would always get tripped up and be like, "Oh my God, I forgot how to do this." I remember the first time took my ACT, it was an easy question with like 2i plus 11 i's, whatever. And I remember being like, wait, I forgot how to do the I, but really it was just second, and then I forgot which like number it was. But now if I don't know how to do something, I can just do alpha and look it up, and it's so easy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that. Miss Tricia, anything you want to add to that?
I was just going to say, you talk about Lauren the first day, and I think that you met with me first before you met with Miss Tori officially, right? For the classes, and we went through on Mondays the English and the reading. And I remember the first time you said for your goal score, we talked about what you had on your first test, and then you talked about your goal score, and you said somewhere in the 30s, 30 plus. And then before I knew it, like within that before we met the second time, you had filled out your goal score chart. You had you had it exact down to the 32 that you wanted. Your English, you had like a 33 you wanted, and math was a 30, reading 33, and science a 30. And then you just came like every week and you brought it. And so you talk about the raising of the scores. You started after just one time, going from like a 20 to a 26 and a 28 in the reading. And then, do you remember what you scored the last time we met for the English on your final practice test that we did together?
I want to say it was maybe in the 30s, like 33, 34.
35.
Wow.
And the last one you scored was a 35. You missed a total of 4 questions on that passage. So, I mean, that is just mind-boggling to think of, like, where you began to where you are now. So I'm like, I think the numbers are really telling too. Also with just the confidence, and for sure, as we worked each week, what I really loved was how dedicated you were, showing up, even when school started and you got the heavy load coming in, you really just, still gave it your all. And each time we saw that progress, and I don't know how you felt about it, but at times where you talk about the learning and the growth, where sometimes I would say, just by strategy alone, what answer should you have chosen? Do you remember we talk about that? And then you'd say, yeah, it should be D. And it sure enough was D. And just knowing that you've got the process to trust in, right? So, yeah, I'm super proud of you and excited for, everything that you've done to lead up to this part. I'm so glad that you were able to come in because it's going to make a huge difference. That's all I wanted to say. Just bringing in that, just brag a little bit on the actual numbers.
100%. Lauren has done a phenomenal job, and that kind of takes us into the next question, because we want to know, Mom and Lauren, what has been, your greatest result that you feel like in the last 6 weeks that you've worked with us? What do you feel has been your greatest accomplishment?
I think, well, now knowing that I got a 35 on English, I think that's my greatest accomplishment, especially because I think that was the hardest one because I had to think about because in school we do so much writing, and I had to think about how I do writing in school, but then kind of change how I think about it and more so think about what makes the most sense. I know there are some questions where I wouldn't think that made sense if I wrote it, but standard wise, that's what makes sense. So I think just understanding that, I think that's my greatest accomplishment. And it's like my second week back at school, and I've had to do so much writing in school already. And I
Mhm.
can already see that everything that I grasped, like from that section, it's helping me actually.
Wonderful.
Um,
Love it.
I agree. I think that the strategies that you shared, even just kind of the blocking of the study time, so many of those are transferable to what her academic year will
Mhm.
be. Just pulling some of the skill sets and the strategies that you gave her. And So I would say that's a huge accomplishment in the sense that learning goes into your senior year and you can take that into college. And for
Absolutely.
me, that I'm very grateful for that because we don't get enough time to do that in school. You know, it's
Mhm.
just content, you study it, you test, and basically then you completed the course. But just the strategies and the skills and applying those every day and what you do across all of the content, that's not as much of an emphasis. So
Oh,
I think that
yes.
was very helpful.
Mhm. And just to kind of talk about the numbers for a second, because I don't know if Lauren shared with you or not, but during the program, we continuously monitor their progress to see how they are uh, hedging towards their goals. And like Miss Trisha said, she completed that goal sheet and she knew what score she wanted in every subject. So we know Lauren came in with a 20 as a composite. So we kind of just assumed that that was 20 across the board. We weren't really sure. But then when she took her second test within the academy, she had already improved so much, moving her English score up to 25, her math to 28, her reading to 31, and her science to 24, which was already huge on that second test. But that's not all, right? She continued to put in the effort and hard work. And then the next week, she was coming in on a test, increased that English score to a 26. She was on track with that 28 in math again. That's the 8-point jump. Then she went up to a 34 in reading and then a 29 in science. Okay. And then she took it again. And and that's when we saw that huge 35 in English, 28 math, 34 reading, and a whopping 32 in science. So she has done phenomenal. We're super proud of the work that she put in there. So that her hard work and it's evident that she worked really hard and implemented those strategies. So we just want to know, Lauren, like, how do you feel now, not necessarily from a number standpoint or academics, but how do you feel as you head in towards taking the test again?
Well, I feel a lot more confident going into the test. It's always like the worries of like, well, what if this happens or what if that happens? But I feel way more confident taking the test, especially because the first time I only had 24 hours to really think and prepare about it. And now I have, I guess, like four weeks of preparation and in classes and outside of classes. And I feel like it's definitely going to be a lot better. And I'm trying not to think about, oh, I'm gonna make sure to score this, and I'm just making sure that I improve the score because
Exactly.
I know it's possible.
Mhm.
Hmm. How does that make you feel, Mom?
Well, that makes me feel great. I mean, that's what I want. I want for her to feel as prepared as she can be as confident as she can be. There's a lot of anxiety that most students feel when taking that test because so many opportunities ride on it. And I like how she has reframed it to I want to improve, I'm prepared, and I'm confident. And that's
Mhm.
that's all you can have going in. That's the best outcome you can have going into the test. Know that you're
Absolutely.
prepared to know kind of what to expect and feel comfortable and just know that the focus is really on just doing your best and making those improvements in each of the sections that you can. And then you just kind of leave it on the as a cheer person, leave it on the mat.
That's right. 100%. So, what are you most excited about as you get ready to graduate from the top 10 ACT Academy? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm most excited about getting my results back because I know whatever score it is gonna be a really good score. And I'm excited, like with everything new that I've learned, especially because I can apply it a lot this year in school.
Mhm.
I mean, it'll only help me. And I feel like I did it at a really good time because it's the start of the school year and I've already seen where I can use the skills this year. So I'm really excited about that too, that I picked a good time to do it. And then if I have to take the test again, I'm excited that at least I know what to expect and I know the skills on what to do to take it
We love it. We love it.
That's amazing.
That
That's
is
awesome.
awesome to hear. So, we just want to know, what would you say to any other families of high school teens that are looking to prep for the ACT? What would you say about this program to them?
I would say that this is a really amazing program and that, the name is Top 10 ACT, and I feel like I will get a top 10 score, and that if you were to take this course, you will also improve and get a top 10 score.
Right. And I agree. I would say echo the same things, especially just as a parent, you make an investment. And what I saw was she put in the time, but I think that your skill sets as instructors was very key to that. It's very motivating. She appreciated your patience and explaining things, giving her new tools that she can access. So for someone, another parent or family considering it, I would highly recommend it and encourage students and families to invest the resources and also the time it takes to prepare, and they'll see the results that they want to achieve. They'll definitely see improvement and growth. And then lessons that and strategies they can take on into the future.
It's great.
Yes.
Ms. Trisha, do you have anything you'd like to add or in response to what's been said today?
I just, I just have really enjoyed working with you, Lauren. It's been from the very beginning, watching and hearing you kind of, as you said, grow and have these tools to learn, see the light bulb moments as you just kind of like were surprised at the scores you got as we went through each week and scored it, and your eyes would light up and you're just so excited about it. And when we say, like that, we're both passionate and we're on a mission to help teens be able to get into the top 10 score, to be able to have scholarship merits or go to the schools of their choice. You are exactly the ideal student that we want to work with, because like I said, every week you brought it. Not only did you show up for the lessons, but the office hours and the practice tests included. And you took advantage of pretty much, I think, everything that we had to offer, including the mindset challenge and everything that's in the portals. And you're going to see the results for it. So what you put in is what you get out, and amazing job. So I just want to congratulate you. And I know you've heard me say, I don't ever say good luck, on the test. I always say that you've already put in the work. There's nothing about luck in this. And what I loved is your mindset, even when you said if you didn't get as high a score, if you have to take it again, that to me is such a it just makes me very happy to know that everything's not riding on what happens tomorrow, because we know your growth has already been there, and it's something you're going to take with you for the rest of this school year and when you go to college and everything else. And that's why I do what I do. So I'm very, very happy to have met you, and I'm so glad you were a part of our program.
Thank you.
Same here.
Love being a part of this. It was really, really good, and I hope that more people take advantage of this.
Yeah, we're happy to share this opportunity with others and just let them know and make them aware, because the program you've put together is good, but you as instructors, you show that you care, and that makes a lot of difference. I think that's the difference between a teacher who's able to perform well, is the trust relationship they build with their students. And you were able to do that right off the bat, and she knew you were there to help her. So we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys enrolling. Like Ms. Trisha said, we really thank you guys, and we can see the growth in Lauren. It's phenomenal. It leaves me speechless to see the growth that's happened over this short 6 weeks. It really is amazing, and we thank you so much for your time this afternoon to share that with us. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.